Good Monday morning, YouTube. This is Tired Metalhead Weatherman. It's a very rare Monday morning video for me because, well, I'm a landscaper. I normally work during the day, but where I live right now, we have some rain that's going to be hanging around all day. So, because of that, we had a rain out. And I'll get into how that happened. Well, I already mentioned yesterday, but few new developments with that, by the way, which we will talk about momentarily, as well as more tropical stuff, because things are going to get really interesting. But in the meantime, before I get into all of that, if you like what I've been doing in the last few videos, uh, drop a like, comment, subscribe, share. Just lets me know that I'm doing a decent job here, and of course, we'll always be looking to improve on this channel. Let's get into it. Of course, we've talked about the severe weather threat today, and this area has actually expanded a little bit, by the way, since last night or yesterday afternoon. We'll take a quick look at the hazards real quick, and then also I want to mention this marginal risk, and I'm going to tell you why that's significant. It's because late last night I talked about this little disturbance in the Gulf. I didn't really think it was going to be really anything of a tropical entity, but lo and behold, this became an invest just as it was pushing into land yesterday, and now there is a marginal risk, as there is with most tropical like systems, with the chance of a brief tornado and isolated damaging winds. So anywhere on the southeast coast, pretty much from Wilmington all the way down towards Tallahassee. And I think the threat's over for for about half of this area at this point. But areas like Charleston, Columbia, Charlotte as well, even Raleigh, you could see a pop up storm with some wind, maybe even a tornado. And the hazard outlooks definitely outline that here. And of course, most tropical systems, the lapse rates aren't that impressive, so I wouldn't expect any hail from this. It's very rare. But meanwhile, towards the southern plains and Texas, around Amarillo, Lubbock, Abilene, Midland, Fort Stockton, Waco, Austin, San Antonio, all three hazards. You are in play for all three hazards. Tornado threat, you have a 2% chance, just like over in the southeast. But the main threat is going to be wind and hail. I expect a few isolated cells, but I expect this to congeal into a line later into the evening. I mentioned that in yesterday's video. I will drop a link toward the end of the video in case any of you want to watch that. But that's day one. And we'll look at tomorrow's threat too, since we have the 48-hour HRRR on our hands. It's another slight risk. Very small slight risk. We mentioned this yesterday. This hasn't changed much at the moment. Now we can get a look at the hazard types. Tornado threat, pretty much the same as today, 2%, and the wind and hail threat is the main concern. Now that we've looked through that, we'll take a look at the HRRR and see what the radar could look like tonight and maybe over the next couple of days. So here we are looking at the reflectivity. Here's our tropical invest right here. Matured very quickly, and that's one thing that a lot of people are concerned about in regards to tropical season, is the fact that the Gulf of Mexico is already pretty much like bathwater at this point. So if you get calm wind shear at the upper levels, storms can pop off in a hurry down here and strengthen really fast. Because really, in reality, you want water of at least 80 degrees for a tropical system to develop. And we've been kind of sitting around the upper 80s for a while around here. So not liking what I'm seeing there. This could be a very active and potentially nasty hurricane season. But we'll hope for the best. In the meantime, let's take a look. We'll watch this tropical entity move off to the north and east, cause more unsettled weather, and on the tail end of this is going to drag more Gulf moisture into the southeast and cause more rain and thunderstorms around this area. Meanwhile, we have this really strong, really dynamic upper level low system taking shape here. And you can even see it spinning on this model. And this is around the Four Corners region. And as we watch this move further and further ahead, you can even see that spin start to take shape here. You can see a little bit of snow trying to develop on the back side of this. But look at all that moisture and how it's just swirling around. Uh-oh. Slowed down on me. Come on. There we go. We start to lose some of that. So we have two systems here, two upper level lows. So this is going to be really interesting to see how this develops here. The spin is on the back side of it though. So this is going to limit the tornado threat for sure. Come on, computer. Work with me this morning. Doesn't seem like it's a morning person. Really, neither am I, to be honest. Jeez. Uh-oh. I think Chrome is freezing on me right now. That is not good. Yeah, Chrome is not wanting to behave right now. Shoot. Okay, we're at the end of the model run here. We do get a line of storms that pops up late into Monday and then continues to go through Texas on Tuesday. It'll be interesting to see what happens next on Wednesday. There is a slight risk out for Wednesday, and we'll talk about that in tomorrow's video. Now, let's take a look at some of the madness that I've been seeing recently on the tropical end of things. If my computer will load. I'm a little worried right now. Like, oh, well, that's part of it. So, we'll need to keep an eye on here is as our first tropical system's moved off and this front is moving through southern Texas. Look at this this is a real big area. Just like this last little invest that's formed at the last minute. But look, it hangs in there, and it hangs on the southern end of this boundary and then causes more undisturbed weather. But some of the models have it doing something differently, and then we need to watch this too, because I mentioned it yesterday. This has a really interesting look to it because it really matures into something pretty impressive according to the GFS. Very strong storm. I honestly don't buy this necessarily. But look at the track though. That's what I really want you to pay attention to. Not necessarily intensity. Look at the track. It goes through Mexico, around the Yucatan Peninsula, and then comes out into the Gulf. And that's something that we'll need to watch. Because if that holds true, it could re-strengthen and redevelop in the Gulf. And then we see a couple other runs starting to take a couple of new players coming in at the end of this model run. The validity behind that's questionable, but definitely seems like there's some business is trying to pick up in the Gulf at the very least. Now let's look at the euro. Now the euro had shown the same thing as the GFS the other day, and we can see the track's a little bit further off to the west, but take a look now. Right at the end of this model run, it gets out into the Gulf too. That's something interesting. However, these are operational model runs. Whenever you start seeing operational runs line up, that's a decent signal. But we also have access to the ensemble models here. And whenever you start getting the ensembles and the operational starting to match, confidence really starts to increase. So we're looking at the GFS ensemble model, or GEFS, and you can see a little system trying to form here on the tail end of this storm system, like I had made mention of earlier. See this little thing try to pop up, it dies out. Around this area there's a lot of wind shear. Ocean waters aren't quite as warm, so it's not a tropical friendly environment as far as tropical development is concerned. Even the GEFS now though is starting to pick up on this little is starting to pick up on something popping up here. It doesn't form up quite as impressively as the operational runs, but the fact that there is a signal there is something to pay close attention to. Now it gets kind of messy here in the later end of this run. Like, I can't tell if this is going to go inland or go into the Gulf or not. It's just a big mass of blue. blue here, a lot of low pressure. So towards the end of the run, I'm a little bit more uncertain, but the fact that there's something there, we'll have to watch that really close in the coming days. We also have access to the European ensemble model here. And European ensemble isn't showing something too far from this either. I mean, we see something form up right here. It's not nearly as impressive as the GEFS or GFS, but it goes on a relatively similar track. It moves slower. It has it moving slower though, and it doesn't quite make it off Mexico. But on the western end of Mexico, you guys definitely need to be watching this real close, because it's starting to really seem like something really wants to develop around either this region or this region here towards the northern end of the Panama, or just on the western end and head into the Yucatan Peninsula, then come out into the Gulf. That's the trend that I'm seeing. Of course, we'll be covering it on this channel, and there's surely to be plenty of other YouTube channels covering this as well. I wouldn't say start making preparations now, because we're still a long way out, but this is definitely something to take notice of. But that's all I got for you guys tonight. Tonight, this is so weird. I'm so thrown off. That's all I got for you guys today, this morning. But if you, again, like I said in the start of the video, if you like how I've been doing things lately, drop me a like. Let me know in the comments. It just lets me know that I should keep doing what I'm doing. But until then, this has been Tyre Metalhead Weatherman, and I will see you guys tonight. Tomorrow. This is so weird. All right, goodbye.